Hi, greetings. I'm Jonas, currently an incoming final year student in software engineering. So this is my application for Alphv Technologies for the task. So allow me to demonstrate the application. So allow me to share the screen. So first, let's have the admin portal. So the admin portal here that allows the crowd functions. First, it allows like add ships data. For example, let's say May Hong. And here I've assumed that the user are allowed to select these three shapes. They're only allowed to choose these three shapes, and for colors, they're allowed to have to choose these four shapes. So let's choose green and submit. Yep. Then it's here along with the timestamp on when it's been created with this data. So imagine I want to delete the data. So it's just easy, just just press delete and just delete it, and it will be gone. So how about I want to update the data? So I update it here in green, and I choose blue. So update, yep, it's updated. And for the get function, which is the read, is basically you can read it in the table form. So how about the users part? They are able to get all the shape, color, name, and timestamp that the admin have manipulated. But let's see, okay, let's see. What if we try to update the field? Let's see if there are any changes. Let me update it. Yep, it's updated in admin. Let's see for user. Yep, it's also updated. So you see circle green. And then it's also updated to the current time of the update, which currently now is 11 p.m. 8 minutes and 26 seconds with the date. Yep. So let me explain a little bit on what's been done and how to set up all the stuff. So for the front end, so basically you need to declare in the env file, environment file with this endpoint. Since that I'm using a Spring Boot backend, so the backend is actually running a Tomcat server of 8080. So let's explain. So I created since 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 Next.js is a file-based routing system, so let's say in the admin. So in the admin, I've used and designed the table method, and I've actually separated the component and pages. So here I've actually declared the columns, so will be passed to here for the columns, and for pages, right? I've also added in a function for using API for the REST API, which I've actually declared here for API. I set up using Axios, right? So in the page, I mostly consist of the update API and the delete API as well as the update shape API and fetch table data API. So they are the function to utilize them. So I basically pass it to the component, and in the component, basically you'll be evaluated, and it will be the buttons that actually uses these functions, right? So it goes the same for the column for user. User is the same method where I actually declare the fetch table data here using this use state, and I basically pass it to this component folder and here. So we will pass to this table, which is ndesign, which has their built-in props up. So I want to say, how do I do the rendering for the images? It's actually quite simple. So basically, right, based on the response gotten, so it'll be shape and color, right? Since in admin, here, right? So here, since there's a difference, actually notice that the shape color, but for user is the images, right? So how do I render the images? Right, so it's a very simple logic. So basically, right, I got the response from the get, right? So from there, I actually split it up using the render the shape and the color, which is the properties, and based on that, I pass it to this dynamic rendering for images, dynamic declaration of the image path, shape, color. So you can see, as you can see here, why it works. Circle green, circle is the shape, green is the color. So based on the data, So you just render different images from this based on this image path, right? So that's the front end explanation. So now let's go to the back end explanation. This one I'm actually using so let me just confirm it's still in recording. Yes, still in recording. So in this here, right, how do I utilize it? So basically I have this security configuration, right? So this actually enables the cross-origin resource sharing as well as the carrying out of the security parts. But unfortunately, I'm unable to have enough time to complete the authentication part as that I only work on it on this on 19 October and 20 October since I've been preparing for an certification exam as well as currently working on some company say coding tasks. So I'm unable to take in too much utilize too much time. So this I mean what's the controller? So the control here basically consists of all the REST API declaration like post post mapping, get mapping, put mapping for updating the data, delete mapping. And get mapping here, you basically get the data based on the ID, which is basically used for updating lah by ID. And this just delete by ID and put. So the logic for it to work, right, I actually declare all the function of how it works in the service actually. So how actually Spring Boot works, right? First, you need to have the model. The model here is basically consists of all the table columns, all the data, all the different type of data will be stored into the SQL database. And I want to make sure that you can update whenever there's an update incoming. So I actually use this annotation pre-update to actually update to the latest local date time. All right. So having this model, right? So what's the repository here is basically basic repository. This I'm using a JPA repository. Basically here you can declare basically it abstracts all the CRUD functions like save, get, and also stat for Java. So based on this repo, right? Then I pass the repo to here, the service. Service here basically using this shape repo. So why don't I need a constructor? Because I'm actually using require arch constructor. Because the benefit of using Spring Boot, right, is actually you can use a lot of different annotation, which can save up a lot of coding. Since I'm using the Lombok dependency that we place into Maven. So here save. So basically, I'm using this shape DTO. So what is the DTO? It stands for data transfer object. So I basically control what type of data that will be passed around through the APIs. You see, I'm using shape DTO instead of using a shape entity since it provides much more better abstraction as well. So since I don't want to leak any maybe some information, so I'm using this shape DTO. So basically this service basically using shape DTOs properties, the data name, shape, color to set it to the repository. You should save it to the entity because in here using the entity to set it. And I basically using share repo, which basically controls the CRUD functions to save the data. For example, for this save shape, it goes the same applies for all like get all shapes, delete shape, and all of it. Yeah, so how do you run it? You need to first download IntelliJ and go to this Spring Initializer. Spring no, actually you don't need the Spring Initializer since I already have this. So you can just use IntelliJ and then open my folder, paste it here. And you need to do some different configuration. Like here, right? Please I'll later change it. Please later change your database name over here. This is the database. This is the database name. Please replace it with the database that created in MySQL with this database name, as well as your SQL, username, as well as your SQL password. All right. Yeah. Then if you after you replace it, then just run it. Then everything will be fine. All right. That's all for my demonstration. I hope you are okay. You are fine with the results, and I'd like to thank this opportunity for working on this project. It's very fun and quite exciting to be able to work on so much stuff and to refresh and kind of and make my understanding on back end much more concrete. All right, thank you.